Hey everyone! Today we're diving into one of the most intriguing chapters of the New Testament, Mark 13. This chapter is often called the Olivet Discourse because Jesus delivered it on the Mount of Olives just east of the temple. But what does it really mean and how should we interpret it? Let's unpack it together. In Mark 13, Jesus prophesies about the fate of the temple, Jerusalem, and the end times. By this point, religious and civil leaders have rejected Jesus, closing the door on God's continued work through the Jewish nation. As a result, Jerusalem and the temple, which were once the heart of God worship, are no longer needed in God's plan. Jesus foretells their destruction, which historically took place in AD 70. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Theologians have debated the prophetic parts of Jesus' teaching for centuries. The big question is, when will these prophecies be fulfilled? Were they fully realized with the siege of Jerusalem? Or do they point to future events, possibly a mix of both? There are two primary schools of thought here, Preterism and Futurism. Preterism, from the Latin word for past, teaches that all biblical prophecies have been fulfilled, that they point to Jesus' words in Mark 13:30. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Many preterists believe that events like the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70 fulfill these prophecies. On the other hand, Futurism argues that many prophecies in Daniel, Revelation, and the Olivet Discourse are yet to come true. Futurists believe that after the church is raptured, God will use Israel to spread his truth during a future 7-year tribulation. They interpret this generation in Mark 13:30 as the generation that will witness these future events. Jesus begins his discourse with a prophecy that was soon fulfilled, the destruction of Herod's temple in AD 70. But then he transitions to a broader discussion on end-time signs. He lists false teachers, natural disasters, famine, and persecution as events that don't necessarily signal his immediate return. One key event Jesus mentions is the abomination of desolation, where the Antichrist will defile the temple during the tribulation. It's a warning for believers to stay vigilant and not be deceived by false Christs. Jesus' return will be unmistakable, marked by power and glory, gathering his followers. The chapter ends with a lesson from the fig tree. Just as the fig tree signals the coming of summer, these signs will indicate the nearing of Jesus' return. Even though we won't know the exact time, we should live our lives in readiness. Mark 13 is structured as a chiasm, a poetic form where ideas are mirrored. Jesus starts and ends with warnings about deceivers and includes signs of disaster, personal persecution, and a great conflict in the middle. It's a call to be aware, stay faithful, and always be prepared for his return. So there you have it. Mark 13 is a complex but fascinating chapter that offers a glimpse into both historical and future events. Whether you lean towards Preterism or Futurism, the key takeaway is clear. Stay vigilant, stay faithful, and live in readiness for Jesus' return. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the Bible. We'll see you next time.